Yo, what is going on, everyone? Guiding Light here, back with a quick DMZ guide. In this one, I'm going to be going over the Tier 3 mission, which is No Rushing, which is basically just a remake of the Modern Warfare 2 No Russian campaign mission. So I'm going to show you guys how you can find the MG, because that was definitely the hardest part of this mission. And then I'll also show you guys how to actually get this one done, because the second step is a little bit tricky, where you have to shoot down the reinforcement helicopters. So in order to get started, what you have to do is actually go into the normal multiplayer. We're going to go out of the DMZ. And if you go to the normal multiplayer, what you need to do is go to your creative class and level up the MG all the way up to level 17. So if you guys have the SAKIN MG38 in your gunsmith, just go ahead and equip it. And if you don't have it all the way up to 17, you'll have to go to normal multiplayer, and you're going to need to get that done before you can do this challenge, so you can put all the right attachments on. Now, after you've done that, you want to go into your creative class in the DMZ, and you'll have that insured slot up there at the top. Now, you can only do this once every hour and a half if you fail to extract with your weapon, so just keep that in mind and try to get a full team if you can. But what you'll want to do is wait for that timer to go down. That makes it so you can slot in your own weapon, and then you'll be able to open up the gunsmith from there and equip the MG with the proper attachments, so long as you're level 17. So you'll just go to the bipod inside the gunsmith, put on the bipod, which is all the way on the far right, and then just make sure to put on the 150 round drum. So that's all you guys have to do in order to get the MG. I looked everywhere around the map to see if one of the enemies would drop it, but it doesn't. So I believe this might be the only way to even get the MG into the MZ right now. So all you'll have to do after this is grab yourself a vehicle and head over to the airport, which is all the way at the bottom right corner. Now keep in mind, guys, that if you can actually sometimes spawn directly at the airport. So if you don't get that spawn and it's really, really far away, you could just extract in a couple of times until eventually you get lucky enough to get that spawn. Because keep in mind that the terminal is a spawn location. So if you don't spawn at the terminal, that means a different team spawned there. So it's up to you, because if you start running around the terminal and you don't spawn there, that means that there's actually going to be another team there somewhere running around, and you might not want to have to deal with that. So the only way to avoid that would be to extract and then go back to into DMZ until eventually you spawn directly in the terminal. Now, if you're doing this solo, I suggest just going up to the roof, because it makes it a lot easier to take out the enemies, and you don't have to worry too much about getting shot in the back or from the side from all the different rooms inside. Also, there could potentially be a UAV up here. I don't think they spawn on the same spot every game, but if there is, you can trigger that so that at least you know where the people are at. Now, from here, all you'll have to do is take out the 10 enemies. Now, keep in mind, you might want to bring in an ammunitions box in order to make things go a little smoother. And then also, guys, be on the lookout for these helicopters, because when they spawn in, those are the helicopters that you have to destroy. So as soon as you see one of these choppers, because they do spawn very rare, you want to immediately start shooting it down. So that's the second step of the mission, is to destroy the 3 reinforcement helicopters. And so every so often, those helicopters will spawn in. Now, after I killed all of the enemies in the entire terminal, I killed well more than 10 of them. I was sitting around waiting for a chopper to spawn in for the second one, and it just never spawned in. So if you're sitting around waiting for a reinforcement chopper to spawn in, and for whatever reason that just never comes, I have found a way to sort of force it to spawn, and it worked 2 times in a row. So it should work, but it is a little bit risky because it makes it a lot harder to actually shoot it down. But for whatever reason, I don't really know why, the reinforcement choppers just never came in for me. The first one came in, and then after that, they just stopped coming in. So very quickly, I'll show you guys how you can trigger reinforcement helicopter to spawn. Now, also, something to keep in mind is when you're in the terminal, there's actually a really bad glitch going on right now that I've noticed, at least on the PlayStation 5, where your game will just completely freeze up sometimes when you're in this area. It doesn't really happen anywhere else on the map, but it does happen here at the terminal for some reason. So if at some point your game does freeze up, you should be able to just wait until it unfreezes and then continue playing. And the longer you're in this area and give the game time to load all the textures, the less it will lag. But as of right now, it was lagging really bad while I was at the terminal. Now, I'm not sure if it's a glitch with the reinforcement choppers or what, but if you end up being in the same situation where you're sitting up there, you've cleared out the entire terminal, and they never send any reinforcements, I did do something, and it seemed to work to get them to respawn. Now, keep in mind, guys, you will probably, at this point, once you've taken out all the enemies in the area, want to go across to wherever the store spawns, because it does spawn in different locations every time. You'll probably want to go to the store and grab a couple of ammunition boxes, so that you can continue to restock ammo on the MG, because at this point you'll probably be out. And the only way around that is to go buy some more boxes and keep them in your inventory for when you need them. But this brings us back to how you're going to get the reinforcement choppers to spawn, because when you go into a new area and you decide to return to the terminal, this should trigger the reinforcement chopper to spawn. So you'll notice that I took out all of the enemies over here across the way at the warehouse, only because I wanted to make sure I didn't die on the way back. It's not necessary to kill them. As soon as I go back to terminal, you'll notice that there's a reinforcement chopper already up there. Now, this is why I said it was going to be able to make it harder to destroy it, because by the time I got back and realized it was there, it was already gone. So when you guys leave the area, just be on the lookout for the chopper, because it can spawn anywhere. And that's all you guys should have to do to trigger the spawn of that. Now, I actually did it one more time. Now, if you fail to take out the first chopper, you'll actually have to kill all of the enemies and then try to do this process again. So I took the truck back over to the store, but this time I was well more ready to go and take down the chopper. So this should trigger the spawn of the chopper, and you'll see that it starts to come in just a few seconds. And immediately when I see it, I just go after it as fast as I can to try and take it out. Now, they don't show up on the minimap or anything like that, which makes it really hard to actually figure it out where they're going to spawn. But a lot of times you should hear them starting to fly in, so you'll be able to go over to the area and try to take them out. Now, they take an insane amount of ammo to destroy them. I put over 150 bullets of the MG into this chopper, and it did not destroy it. So just keep that in mind, because you will most likely want to try to do this with a full team. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. That's how you're going to do the mission. I'm sorry the video was a little bit long, but this challenge was a little more difficult than the rest. So hopefully this helps you guys out to get this one done. And if it does, be sure to drop a like down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.